I know. I have to upload it, but I can't because the darn router won't work. I don't know. I've been unplugging it, plugging it back in. The thing just isn't. It's not working. I know. Okay. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right. Okay. I'm gonna go to the coffee shop. I'll upload the resume there. All right. Good. Okay. Bye. Oh shoot. There's never any parking. Go ahead. Take your time. People are such idiots. Go ahead, you idiot. Ugh. Why? Why? Always me. Why? Ugh. You have no job. You can't get hired. You have no gas. There's no parking. Every light is a red light. Every freaking light. Every time.
Your mind will always go to what's more interesting, right? If you think about it. So often our mind will go to the drama of what's happening in our life, and oh my God, what if that happens? And oh my God, what if they break up with me? And oh my God, what if I lose the car or the house or and so that anxiousness is a vibration, and your mind rushes to that and feeds on it. It begins feeding on it, and therefore you're putting conscious energy into motion that becomes an attractive field that then brings those experiences into your life.
You might not even realize that every day you wake up and you're bashing your car, you're bashing your work, you're bashing your family, you're bashing yourself, you're bashing your day, or you have a lot of anger towards somebody and it's constant, but you're not realizing, and then that may show up as the car accident or as disease in your life. That's going to be made manifest.
You want to be aware of your thoughts, because every thought you think is actually planting a seed. And this is very powerful, especially when you realize that you're creating your own world, you're creating your own universe, you're creating your relationships and everything else because of your thought. Those thoughts are seeds that become your reality.
Oh my goodness, are you okay?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'm so clumsy.
You say so.
Oh, I'm such an idiot.
You shouldn't talk so bad about yourself.
What do you mean?
It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Just be more careful.
Whatever you plant is what you're going to get back. So the universe does not course correct for us if we sow the wrong seed. That's just not how it works. If I need oranges and I plant apples, the universe doesn't say, oh my God, the girl needs oranges, let me change these apple seeds to orange seeds. No, it's going to give me apples because that's what I planted. It says, don't bring me your need, because the only thing I can do with your need is multiply it. Bring me your seed. Bring me what it is that you want. And the problem with doubt and fear and worry, and the reason that it thwarts expression, is because the universe can only return to us what we give it. The harvest is coming. The question is, what seeds did you put in the ground? And the ground does not care what seed you give it, because it's going to multiply whatever you give it. And so we cannot afford to allow thought seeds of doubt, of fear, worry, anxiety. We can't afford them, because they multiply. So we got this crop of doubt sitting around us, and we say, "What? How come I can't get anywhere?" Well, what'd you plant? And then we want to pray, we want to chant, we want to go talk to psychics. You don't have to talk to a psychic. You really don't. You could just plant another seed, a better seed. We want to hold on to grudges. You can't. You know what a grudge does? It plants a garden of anger for you. It plants a garden of resentment for you. And who wants to live in that vibration?
Something I would ask someone who's pessimistic about their future and where their life is going, this is what I would say. How are you enjoying or not enjoying your life now, up to now that you've created, whether or not you believe you've created it, then they'd answer. And then you'd say, what if there was a chance that what you think about and what you put your energy on keeps shaping your life and where it's moving and growing into or not moving and growing into. So I would say to them, what do you think the future looks like? And when they say it, and I'll say, do you really believe that? And you know, if they're being pessimistic, and then I'll say, then you're right, you have just read your future. You know, and I'm not doing that to be mean, but I'll just say, why don't you try something else if you would like to feel something different or have a different future? Try something different. Try it for 30 days. Try shifting your focus just for 30 days. See what you think. Because whatever you think the future is going to be, you got it. You're right. You're 100% always right. It is, because it's the way you're going to experience it. So it's up to you.
Within this seed is order and a perfect idea of whatever kind of seed it is. If it's an apple seed, within that apple seed is an apple tree producing more apples. It may be a whole forest in one seed. So within a seed, there's so much. Now, here's the deal. If you have that seed in your pocket, the farmer's broadcasting seeds, but one of the seeds gets stuck in the farmer's pocket. He doesn't discover it for a year later. That idea is still in that seed. And that seed was able to maintain its integrity. The farmer can plant it, and it will still bear fruit. Whether it's a rose bush, or an apple tree, or an avocado, whatever tree, whatever the case may be, there's something there that has no shelf life that will grow. The same is true for us. There's something within us. When the condition is right, it will bloom. This is what's empowering about New Thought. We get to create the condition for our own unfoldment. We get to determine our moods, our attitudes, our speech, our affirmation. We get to create an atmosphere and a condition so that that which is within us can come forward.
Good morning. Do you know what you want?
Oh, hey, it's you.
Mariam.
Hey, Marianne, I'm Jimmy. So you asked what I want. You know, there's always a difference between what you would like and what you can get. I guess I'll just have a small cup of the house blend.
Okay, you got it. There you go.
Thank you.
You know, when I get stressed, I like to read a good book. I find it takes me to a different place. It changes the way I think about things.
Yeah, well.
And actually, we have a little lending library right over there. There's some pretty sure ones too if you're real busy.
Might check it out. Thanks.
You got it.
Hello?
Jimmy, hey. Yeah, I got you set up for that interview tomorrow. You're available, right?
Yeah, of course, I'm available.
Cool. Did you send your application to that other place?
Yeah, I sent it. I had to come to the coffee shop to send it over, but I hope to have the resume redone later today. Yeah, I'm gonna stop by a few places in person. I mean, hopefully they'll see I'm serious.
Look, I don't know if I told you this, but I'm sorry the way things ended over here. You know I fought for you. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Speak of the devil. He's coming this way.
Okay.
I gotta go.
Thanks, brother.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah, it's usually just a compatibility issue with the formats. I apologize. I apologize that you didn't like the design. Yeah. Hey Jimmy, when you get back to your office, would you go ahead and send over that file to 24/7 Fitness? The one I told you to create in neon with the bigger font?
No, you said you didn't like that one.
Yeah, he said he'd send that one over. Yeah, he just sent you the wrong file is all. Yeah, I'll make sure that you're happy. Yeah, I'm on top of it. Okay, bye.
No, you told me that you didn't like the font and not to send that design.
They didn't like the other one, and we just need to make sure that they're happy. So, what brought you to my office?
My pay slip about last week, it only showed 40 hours, and I know I worked more than 40 hours.
Well, yeah, they just integrated the new clock system.
So what does that mean?
Well, when we switched over to the new system, one of the things that got fixed was that nobody would be allowed to go over their allotted hours anymore. So regardless of what time you clock in or out, you just got to make sure your work gets done, or it'll end up like that again. Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead and send over that file to 24/7 for me.
Well, remember you told me you didn't like that file, so not to send it, and I'm pretty sure I don't have it on my computer anymore.
Figure it out.
Oh, man.
Do you want more?
Oh, no more.
Okay.
Our thoughts are either creating or destroying. One of the two. Every time you're nasty to someone, you're destroying a part of their self-worth. So we have to choose how we want to use it. And the destruction sometimes is good. I want to destroy any negative habits that I have. So we have to watch our mind. We have to pay attention. We have to really look and test ourselves instead of blaming everyone else, which is always easier to do, don't you think? It's easier to blame you rather than look at my own stuff. But when we are self-honest and we take our own inventory, not somebody else's, and we look and see, what have I done to cause this? What must I change to make this better? What thought can I think that will lift the spirit of this person? You see, it's a matter of making choices about how we think.
When I say yes to an idea, I am saying yes to becoming something. And so I am in this process of simply becoming more aware of who I already am. And I am a child of God. The thing is that I don't fully comprehend what that means. And so I go on these life adventures, I go on these journeys, led by my thinking, hopefully balanced with my feeling, and I begin to have these adventures.
As you think, so you will become. As you think will change your behavior will change your results will give you more feedback on what to do next. But you notice it all begins with thought. James Allen was one of the first to do that, and he did it so crystal clear that it's still relevant today.
The early 1900s were filled with so many great authors, and there was such a hunger and a thirst for inspired thinking. You know, believe in yourself, pick yourself up. And so As a Man Thinketh is just one of those early classics that just caught fire. And people did a lot more reading, quite frankly. And, you know, that was your intro in conversations. Well, what are you reading, and what's inspiring you? And so these works, and As a Man Thinketh definitely being one of the top ones, just got a lot of traction because it had practical, real-life suggestions and tools on how to work with your mind and your thinking and see the results. And that's the bottom line. Yes, very well written, and infused with spiritual principle, and people got results.
Allen was able to distill all of his ideas into this very brief volume called As a Man Thinketh, a beautiful meditative volume that was greatly accessible, greatly readable. James Allen was a wonderful man. I refer to him in my book as a working class hero, and he truly was. He grew up in the textile trade in central England. He came from a family that was stricken by tragedy when his father traveled to America to find work and was killed in a robbery in New York City just in the late Christmas season of 1878, before James turned 15 years old. His family was left destitute, and James had to go out and work as a factory knitter. His father had hoped James would become some sort of a scholar or professor or school teacher, and those hopes seemed completely gone. James spent almost 10 years of his life in factory work, and he would work 15-hour days sometimes. But he always believed ardently in self-improvement. In fact, his co-workers would call him the parson or the saint because he never went out drinking or engaged in any of the pleasures that helped them blow off steam after work, but he would go home and read. He would read scripture. He would read what translations of Buddhist literature were available at the time. He would read the collected works of Shakespeare. And he came to believe very, very deeply that the key to advancement in life was self-improvement.
Only by searching and mining are gold and diamonds obtained, and man can find every truth connected with his being, if he will dig deep into the mine of his soul.
I love that book. James Allen's book, As a Man Thinketh, is wonderful. And it comes from the scripture in Proverbs 23. But the actual adage says, as a man thinketh in his heart. So it's not just a brain activity. I think Charles Fillmore says that the law of mind action is thinking plus feeling equals a demonstration. Thinking plus feeling equals a demonstration. I can think I want a car, but till I feel like I have it, it's not going to be here. The law of mind action is stated also as thoughts held in mind reproduce after their own kind. So when you hold something in mind and you let it move down into your heart, into your feeling nature, you become extremely powerful. So here's my equation. Thought plus feeling plus words plus action equals a demonstration. And I believe that as we think and then we allow ourselves to feel, for example, I can think God loves me all day long, but until I feel it, nothing happens.
Just as a gardener cultivates his plot, keeping it free from weeds and growing the flowers and fruits which he requires, so may a man tend the garden of his mind, weeding out all the wrong, useless, and impure thoughts, and cultivating toward perfection the flowers and fruits of right, useful, and pure thoughts. By pursuing this process, a man sooner or later discovers that he is the master gardener of his soul, the director of his life.
So James Allen's As a Man Thinketh is one of my favorite books because it really just encapsulates what it means to live a thoughtful life. And it is one of the principles that we teach at Understanding Principles is that thoughts have value and power. The value of them is that we have the ability to change them at any time. The power is that what we think actually creates our world. And that verse, Proverbs 23:7, it explains life. That you can always look at what's happening in your life as an indication of what is in your heart. Sometimes people may not know like what in their experience is actually creating their experience, but that verse, which is actually a spiritual law, it can be studied in the reverse. So you can look at what's happening in your life and know what's happening beneath the surface. And so you become a student of your own experience, and you look at your life as evidence of what it is that you're thinking.
James Allen had this brilliant insight where he said, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And I think this is brilliant today because most people don't understand that you're not creating your reality on a conscious level, you're creating it on an unconscious level.
We attract what we are and what we believe we can have or be. That's the only thing. That's what we believe with feeling. Is anything possible? Yes or no? Is it? Okay. So you may think not. I wrote an article called Get Your Big Butt Out of the Way. It's the butt, it's the butt. I would have a great relationship, but, so it's not what you want necessarily, but it's deep down what you believe is possible for you. It's up to you to accept it. When you say, yes, I will accept this love, I will accept it, and I believe in it. And that's a new for me. This is going to be a new day. There's infinite potential now. And those aren't just words. You have to realize that. You have to believe that. You have to feel that. And that's what is creative. Yeah. So it's not what you want. Your wants and wishes do not manifest. It's what you believe that will manifest.
Basically, you don't get what you want, you get what you're interested in. And so many people are very interested in what they are afraid of. They have a lot of emotional charge around it. And so what they're doing is they're setting up a relationship with the very thing they don't want. Like worry is a mental and emotional rehearsal of what you don't want to happen. So you're actually using the law to bring about what you don't want. So James Allen is right. What a man thinketh, or what a woman thinketh in their heart, has a tendency to come into their life. And so the law doesn't discriminate between, I'm very, very, very afraid of this, or I'm very, very available to this. You see, it only knows what you're interested in. Oh.
Own your own feelings and not just give in to like, oh, well, okay, that's crappy, so I'm gonna feel crappy now for like 3 months. Okay, go. Why? You could choose a totally different thought.
What I think about all day long begins to manifest in my life. And if I look at my life, I can tell you what I've been thinking. Yeah? If you don't like the way it is, then change your mind. If we keep thinking about negative things, or feeling worthless, or feeling abused or battered or unhappy, or whatever we're thinking and feeling, we're creating. And it's like the universe is saying, oh, she likes to feel bad. Let's say there's some more stuff to feel bad about.
More bills. Bills, 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 bills. Oh, excellent. Look at that.
I believe that we are here to learn how to run universes. And we're not going to learn how to run universes if we don't feel that we have the power to manifest paying a bill, for example. So we start where we are to gain our power, to let it grow. And when I can manifest getting this bill paid, or getting a new car, or going on a vacation, or buying a home, or whatever it is, when I feel that my power is growing so that I can do this, it increases my self-confidence that I can do even more things.
All right, yeah, that's what you want.
I think it's very critical that we understand that yes, we've all had unpleasant experiences in life, and we're likely going to have some more unpleasant experiences, but we are not the experience. We are having the experience. We are feeling the feeling, but we are more than our feelings. We are more than what has happened to us. We have slipped, we have fallen, that is for sure. But guess what? We are not the fall. We can get up, we can choose to get up and dust ourselves off, and we can start all over again. And I can move forward, and I will move forward. I owe it to myself because I am more than what I have experienced up until this point in my life.
We're not here to live a challenge-free life. We're here to live a life that challenges us so that we can activate our potential.
Hello?
Hey, did I leave some boxes in the porch area?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, well, I may be able to come by tomorrow and get those. I don't want to drag this out any further.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I have not even opened it yet.
Well, Jimmy, I need you to sign those papers, okay? I don't need you dragging this out any longer. How is it that you have no wife No job, but you still don't have time to look over a freaking letter and sign it.
How is it that you're so annoying? You're not even here anymore and you're annoying me.
I need you to look it over and sign them.
So there's a bunch of new ones on here that we haven't seen. Oh, I heard this romantic comedy is really good.
A chick flick? No way.
Come on.
I want to watch something entertaining. You know what I think of chick flicks? It's so predictable. You know, boy meets girl, girl falls in love with boy. Something bad happens that rips them apart. They get back together because of some witty, you know, something brings them together, and then they kiss, ha, and they make up. I don't know, it's just so predictable.
Okay, but there's some kind of like deep, enlightening wisdom thing going on in the movies you like, right?
Well, yeah, that's the point. It's, you don't have to think about it, you know? Just boom, and pure entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Maybe to you it is.
So I was gonna find something to watch. What are you in the mood for?
I'm probably not watching, so you can watch whatever you want.
We never talk anymore. You come home, you barely say a word to me unless you're complaining about your boss. And then you bury yourself online and TV, and I know you have a lot going on, but I feel like I don't even know you anymore.
Well, yeah, lots happened. What else is there to say?
It's a deep inner belief system that is responsible for the outpicturing. Because even thoughts or just words are meaningless without the feeling and belief. It's what you believe, because you could say one thing, I want a great relationship, a healthy relationship, a loving partner, but you really, truly in your heart don't believe it's possible for you, for whatever reasons. They believe that a healthy relationship is for someone else. They believe it's okay for you to have it. It's okay for, you know, my sister to have it, but not me. I don't deserve that. And they just can't get a clear conception of it in their mind. I can't even really, truly, not even imagine it with feeling what that's like. They reject it on some level.
What are you looking at? Shut up.
People build prisons around themselves all the time with their thoughts. They don't actually even realize it sometimes, because until you watch a movie like this or you read one of James Allen's books, you don't have the conscious awareness of how your own mind is working. But many people are sitting and they're watching negative things, or they're watching the mainstream media, or they're constantly in that negative loop in their own mind where they just keep building and building this darkness around them, not realizing that they are the creator of it. And the more they create that darkness around them and that cynicism and that complaint world that they actually live in, the more it seems like it's their reality. And it will be their reality because they've created it, but they won't realize that they can erase it, that they can uncreate it by changing their mind again.
When you come into a teaching that says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he, that means that my life is controlled by what I think in my heart, not what happens outside of me. And the challenge with the things that we see on TV is that underneath the presupposition underneath most storylines is that you can trace experience to some type of physical cause. So if you look at a news program and they're reporting on something that's happening in some statistic that's come up. There was recently a statistic on a rise of the opioid epidemic, and they will trace it to physical cause. And the problem with constantly seeing that is that it convinces you that there is something external to you that has power over you. And nothing, this is Walt Whitman, nothing external to me has power over me. I think that that's one of the challenges to watching TV, is that this information is coming in unfiltered, and that inside of that is this underlying belief that someone else has power over my experience. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if it's the lifestyles of the rich and famous or the lifestyles of the broken and crazy. I mean, it does not matter. All of it is still tracing existence to physical cause.
You're watching KRPN News. In financial news, the past few days has seen a drop in consumer confidence, leading to a dip in the stock market.
We're living in a world today that's living under the hypnotic spell of scarcity. Somewhere around 2007, 2008, there was a pill that was dropped into the water of the Western world that said, all good has dried up. We live in a recession. And people bought it. They actually believed that. And so some people are walking under the hypnotic spell of the abundance has disappeared. That you know, affluence is gone. Opulence is gone. The universe has changed, you see. And other people have become more resourceful. You know, when I checked in with Mother Nature during this particular time, I asked the avocado trees, I asked the collard greens, I asked the apple trees, I said, you know, humanity thinks there's a recession, is it true? They checked in with themselves, the apple trees came back and said, no, we're still doing apples. The collard greens said, no, we're still growing. The grass said, no, we're still growing, we're even growing through the cement. All of nature said, we don't know what you're talking about, we're still growing. And so I realized that was only in the mind of man. And that fear and that sense of separation that produces greed and nefarious behavior through bankers and things of that particular nature manipulated an immature economic system so that a very small group of people would benefit and a very large group of people would experience lack. But it produced a hypnotic spell that people actually think there's scarcity of something going on, which is a lie. So that condition has produced two different groups of people. One, entrepreneurial, resourceful, resilient, and another group of people, oh my God, what are we going to do? We're living a life of scarcity. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? You know, and it all begins and ends in our awareness and in our thinking.
We have to be very careful we have to really watch our thoughts, you know, and watch what we're letting in. And sometimes the news can be so sad.
When people watch the mainstream news, they're being programmed for lack and limitation and for scarcity and to come from fear. Most of the advertisements there are trying to give you a prescription or some sort of remedy, but they're also planting fear and the idea that you may get this problem, this disease, this illness as well. So I say, first of all, be aware of your own thinking, but be aware of how the programming is coming into your consciousness. One of the best things to do is simply turn off the news, the mainstream news, those advertisements. Turn them off. You don't need them. They're not helping you, and they could be programming you. But beware of your own thinking and then how you're being programmed by others.
If you're feeling down, ask your doctor if Zolac may be right for you. Get back to life and start feeling like you again. Need a boost? Try Jounce Energy Drink. Treat yourself and enjoy the refreshing one-of-a-kind taste of Jounce. Trounce the competition with Jounce.
Let me tell you, I advocate advertising to yourself. And so if a soft drink company can do a steady drip and get you to buy soda, do a steady drip on yourself. So one of the things that I do, I have a daily commercial that I do, and I get in the mirror and I advertise to myself. You think if I had my iPad, I would tell you, I'm gonna tell you my commercial. Hold on, I'm gonna get this. Because you think I'm playing, I'm so serious. Okay, here we go. This is what I do every morning. I get in the commercial and I read this to myself. Okay. All that I set my heart, head, and hands to do succeeds and prospers. For the very essence of God expresses to me, through me, and as me. I am abundantly blessed and highly favored. Know this to be true of me and for me. I'm on the prosperous path. Walk in it, walk on it, walk it out. May the spirit of prosperity and success permeate my every thought, word, and action. It's in God I live, move, and have my being. Therefore, I am the God of my now moment, my now experience. Health, happiness, love, success, and prosperity is mine. Believe it and receive it, Sherry James. Think it, be it, act it. It is me, it is mine, and so it is. Every morning. You see, you gotta understand, this is the thing about the mind. The mind is powerless to resist, the subconscious mind is powerless to resist what you suggest to it. It's powerless. That's why watching these reality shows, these commercials where they run down the list of things that are wrong with you, the reason that these things are so damaging is that the mind is powerless to resist what is suggested to it. And over time, that which is suggested to it enough, the mind eventually accepts. And advertisers know this, and they spend billions, would it be, annually, because they know that the steady drip will eventually impress your mind. I figure, advertise to yourself. Get in the mirror, tell yourself, as a man thinks in his heart, impress your own heart.
The body is the servant of the mind. It obeys the operations of the mind, whether they are deliberately chosen or automatically expressed.
I do know that if I get up in the morning and I tell myself this is going to be a wonderful day, and my body, no matter how old it is, no matter how pain-filled it might be at the moment, I know that I can be healed and I am willing to accept healing. And as we move toward those ideas rather than, oh, poor me, all my family's always died young, all those things, those are negative things that we're just planting seeds into our consciousness that are going to bear fruit. So I'd much rather think to myself that, life is wonderful and I am so grateful to be here. So whatever's going on, it's for my good. I call it good, and I know that I'm not here to suffer, so I choose to release. The thought is I choose to release any suffering, any pain, any anxiety, any frustration, any fear. God is the source of all my good, and God is the source of my health. I accept it now. Maybe you have the thought, oh my God, I'm not feeling good today. Well, that may be true, but another thought is, what can I do to make myself feel better? And so it's not a denial that you're not feeling so hot, but instead of focusing on the negative, you start looking for solutions and opportunities.
Recently, I was like, you know what we're denying? What we're denying when we spend countless hours complaining about what's not working and on social media. What you're denying is every good moment that's happened. What you're denying is the love you have in your life. What you're denying is that you have your health, you're wearing clothes. Did you have a good dinner? Did you have your Starbucks? Are you on Facebook? You're denying every single one of those things. And see, we take it for granted. But I mean, it's so real to me. It's real. The stuff we're denying is the good stuff that we've taken for granted. And we're denying every other dream or vision or a solution that might be coming. Because why? Because we're intent on saying that, wow, that's really dirty, or that is racist, or that's... Instead of me saying, oh my God, this is a really great red texture and I love, and really mean it. I love this red thing here and I get to sit here. That's real. That's real. Everything else is being denied. Think of what you're denying when you choose what you do, focus your energy on, and what you're feeling.
I think what Alan was able to do was to reflect back to a lot of readers, things that they instinctively already believed, which was that they could bring a divine influence into their lives. They could engage in some kind of inner refinement that would not only help them to view life from a higher vantage point, but that would change life. Alan believed that if an individual wanted to improve his station in life, he should forget about the exterior world. He should go within. He should become more refined, extending not only to what he did in outer life, but what he thought when he was by himself, what he said when no one was listening, what he did when no one was watching. Alan believed that if you want to change the circumstances of your outer life, grow more refined in your interior life. And the circumstances of your outer life not only will change, but must change to mirror the refinement of your inner state.
A man should conceive of a legitimate purpose in his heart and set out to accomplish it. He should make this purpose the centralizing point of his thoughts.
I believe that you have a right to have a desire, and there's a process in bringing that desire into manifestation. You have to give yourself permission to be willing to change whatever it is that you've been doing and thinking and feeling that's blocking it, because it's already here. There's no God out there withholding our good from us. We're withholding it mostly unconsciously because we're not realizing what it is we must change. So take a look and see, what must I change about myself in order to achieve this goal? And please hear me, I'm not saying what must I change about my spouse or my kids or my job. It's what must I change about myself? And if you ask that question honestly and authentically, the answer is right there. You don't have to go on a 5-year vision quest, it's right there. That desire that you and I have for anything was put in our heart by God or by the divine mind to lead us along our spiritual pathway. And if you're willing to make the change, you can have what you want.
Well, the way I look at it is each one of us has a seed for a particular potential. For me, I think I was born to be an author. I think when I was a kid, I decided that that's what I wanted to do and that's what I was here to do. So over time, I began to realize that that's my particular life mission. That's the seed within me. But I also know that everybody else has a seed. With James Allen, it was a seed to be an author as well, because he wrote all those books and he wrote the magazines and all those magazine articles. For you, you have to look within and ask, what am I here to do? What's my life mission? What's my life calling? And maybe play with a few things, like if you won the lottery, and I only use it as an example of freedom, because a lot of people say, oh, if I won the lottery, I would do so-and-so. Well, we want to get to the so-and-so. It's not about the money and it's not about the lottery. We want to get to the answer of, what would you do if you weren't afraid? What would you do if money wasn't an issue? What would you do if you felt like the voice of God told you this is your mission? What would you do? When you play with that question and meditate on that question, you find out what the seed is in you that needs to be brought forth. So you have a particular seed. Once you go and bring that forth, you'll make your contribution to the world. And you want to pay attention to that, because that's the seed of greatness in your life.
I had a teacher, and one of my first goals was to go to Mexico City on a trip with my girlfriend. And nothing was happening. I wasn't getting any money, and I ran to her and I said, looky here, I'm doing my work. I'm thinking Mexico, I'm visualizing, what's happening? She said, Wayne, the problem is you're not thinking, you're not feeling rich. I said, well, look at my checkbook. How am I going to feel rich? Look at that. She says, I'll tell you, the problem is you need to go out there in your world and buy something that you can afford that makes you feel rich. I was astonished. It scared me because all my money was designated for peanut butter, crackers, and but I bought these little bottle of olives with almonds in them. $1.20, I can remember, oh my God, what a hole in my food budget. And I felt rich. And when I felt rich, it wasn't long after until the money showed up. But the feeling nature has to be cultivated.
So prosperity is a feeling. Being blessed is a feeling. There are people who have a crap ton of money who feel broke. And it sounds crazy. They have more money than they could ever want, and yet they feel like they need just a little bit more to feel safe. Prosperity is a feeling. It's not about how much money you have. It is about a feeling of possibility for good. And the thing is that money comes, there's the seed that produces money. The seed that produces money is helping people. All the money that there is that will ever be given to you is going to be given to you by a person. Whether, even if it's a gatekeeper at another business, it's a person. And the reason they're going to give it to you is because you help them. So the seed of producing money is helping people. The more people you help, the more money comes your way, right? This is just a seed thing, right? Everything with the universe turns on a seed. But the feeling of prosperity is about cultivating an attitude that I have more than enough to spare and to share. And I mean that in terms of your time. I mean that in terms of your friendships and your relationships, in terms of your health, across every area of your life. And so the blessedness, the reason that it's not tied to riches is because you can have a ton of money, but you don't have any time. And you're spending all of your money to keep your health in check. And no one really wants to hang around with you unless you're spending money on them. And, you know, and then there is the person who has no money and thinks that the world owes them something. Both are in the same boat. It looks different externally, but they're both in the same boat because they both believe that their good feeling or positive feeling is controlled by something outside of themselves. And the person who has a lot of money and is grateful for it and willingly shares it and has enough time and isn't pushed from end to end and can enjoy their family and enjoy their friends or enjoy the way that they have their life set up, well, that person is blessed. Because being blessed is about being in a vibration of joy. And they've cultivated joy. They've learned how to have money without the money having them. And the person who is not really interested in having a yacht, could care less about having more than 2 bedrooms. As long as the bus is running, things are good. That person is as rich as the person that we would say is sitting on the yacht and having the blessed experience that I just described. Because it's about what's happening inside of you. It has never been about what's happening external to you. And if you want money, plant the seed for money. Help somebody. I mean, it's a simple thing. And then and the more you help people in a way that erases you from the equation, meaning you create something that helps, that takes you out of the picture, the more money. So you try to multiply the effect. So the making money part is not it's not a secret. It's not a mystery. But getting the money is not going to produce the feeling. You've got to have the feeling before you ever get to the money.
It's really interesting. You don't have to make this stuff happen. If I have something in my hand, I don't have to push it to the ground and help gravity. I'm going to push this thing down to the ground. Gravity needs my help. No, I let go. Gravity takes over, it falls to the ground. You see, in that same way, I don't have to help the law. All I have to do is speak into it. I have to come into an alignment. If I come into an alignment, there's an outpicturing. I don't have to help electricity move through the lamp, through the bulb to create luminosity. I don't have to help it do it. I just have to make sure there's an alignment where the particular wiring is concerned. Flip the switch, luminosity. So it's about alignment.
Hello?
Hi, is this Jimmy?
Yes, this is Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy. This is Marie with AMT Media. You must have dropped off a resume recently.
Yes.
Well, we would love a chance to sit down with you and talk. And we actually have some applicants coming in today. Would you be available at 11?
Today? Sure.
Okay, well, we'll see you then.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Why didn't I just see if they could do it tomorrow?
So when a circumstance comes up, you'll notice that people handle it differently. Some people act like a chicken with their head cut off. They're all nervous and scared. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? And become so nervous and kind of lose their cool, so to speak. Other people rise up and become inspired and become more proactive, more resourceful. And for those of you who had parents, my mother would say to me from time to time, to my brothers, if you don't stop crying, or whatever the case may be, I'll give you something to cry about.
Hi, you must be Jimmy. Thanks for coming in at such short notice. We had a cancellation and trying to fill. I don't know what I was thinking.
No trouble at all.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming in and your interest, and we just wanted to have you come in so we could learn a bit more about you. So I see here that you were at Cyber Solutions, working in design. What can you tell me about that experience?
Oh, where do I start?
Well, what have you been creating?
Here is an employer of labor who adopts crooked measures to avoid paying the regulation wage and, in the hope of making larger profits, reduces the wages of his workpeople. Such a man is altogether unfitted for prosperity. When he finds himself bankrupt, both as in regards to reputation and his riches, he blames circumstances, not knowing that he is the sole author of his condition.
Whoa, hey, are you cutting out of you today?
Yeah, I mean, they owe me a few hours, but, Mr. Baines is never here.
Oh, look at that project is due at the end of the day, man. We gotta get this thing done.
His suffering and his happiness are evolved from within. As he thinks, so he is. As he continues to think, so he remains.
See ya.
See ya. Sooner or later discovers that he is the master gardener of his soul, the director of his life.
Many people have stubborn, reoccurring problems in their life. And when they finally dissect it and they get to the root belief, the root thought behind that circumstance, and they release it, those circumstances leave. You then go on to a smoother life. There may be some other challenge, but you do the same thing. You find the belief behind it, you find the thought behind it, you release it, you change it, you affirm whatever is new, and then you get a new reality, you get a new life experience.
Love yourself, no matter what pathway brought you to this point. Give yourself permission to realize that you could have come no other way. And everything you did or thought or said in the past, you did because that's the best you knew at the time. Forgive yourself. Set a new intention to be that light of the world that you really are. Let yourself love and be loved.
Alan believed that there was a very thin tissue separating mental experience from spiritual experience, and that in moments of deep reflection and meditation and sensitivity, the ordinary individual could come to experience God, could know the splendor of creation and observe life from some sort of higher vantage point. People who have never heard of concepts of mental healing could nonetheless read James Allen and say, yes, I've always felt that. I've always harbored that hope. I've always harbored that belief. I've always felt that if I aspire to some state of inner refinement, that will be the key to a better outer life. Alan was able to summarize that for people very concisely, very convincingly, with a minimum of religious or dogmatic language. It's a masterpiece, As a Man Thinketh. He wrote many books, but that book, like no other, has endured.
The greatest achievement was at first and for a time a dream. The oak sleeps in the acorn, the bird waits in the egg, and the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of realities.
There's evidence all around you that your thoughts are manifesting. Everything that you see, that you touch, that you taste began with a thought. The car that you're driving began with somebody's thought. Probably a whole team of people that got behind it and created it, but they were all thinking in the beginning. Your whole life, what you're wearing right now, began with somebody's thought. And then at some point you decided with a thought to buy it and to put it on. Your work life, everything that's going on, your computer began with a thought, your pens, your paper, books. I can't think of anything that didn't begin with a thought. Look around your world. We live in this magical, miraculous, moment by moment state of awesome, incredible results that all began with thought. That is so much evidence. And James Allen didn't even have that kind of evidence. I mean, he lived in a time where my goodness, where do you even begin with what he didn't have that we do have? And what we have all was because of thinking, individuals who were thinking and then creating. So it all begins with thought.
What we have to do then is find that what we love and what is potentially true about us, what is mystically true about us, we have to make that more interesting than anything else. So this is the experiment I like to give to people, to say, give yourself a new thought, that you're lovable, that you're worthy, that you're physically healthy, that your dreams are manifest, that everything you could possibly imagine is unfolding in your life as you would design it to be. And make the idea and the vision of that so interesting that nothing else attracts your attention. You have to make that more interesting than everything else. Say, my life is working. That's interesting to me. You know, my body is healthy. That's interesting to me. How can I make that so interesting that nothing else is more interesting than that?
People will begin with just trying to shift their perception by an inner dialogue that's more healthy. So we use the affirmation to begin to change our inner dialogue about ourselves. We begin to affirm that our life is indeed the life of love, and the life of order, the life of harmony, the life of beauty, the life of abundance. We can do affirm that the universe is friendly and that life is for us and that there's nothing against us. We can do affirm that we're divinely supported and that all of our needs are met, until the affirmation seeps into our subjective awareness and begins to be a feeling. The words ultimately become a deep feeling. They actually feel connected. We feel supported. We feel loved. We feel that our needs are met. This is a feeling universe. And as you begin to feel that, regardless of circumstances may not have changed yet, but as you're waking up every single day feeling that, then you've put yourself in a position to demonstrate or to have a revelation, an insight that will ultimately demonstrate what you've been saying to yourself as you've shifted your inner dialogue, and the mindscape is now becoming more pure, the inner landscape more potent, your interiority more clean. You become more in alignment, more in tune with the universal flow.
When we go for something and we have these trials and tribulations and these struggles and these triumphs, what we're doing besides creating our reality is we're building our character. We're building up this internal fortitude so that we can have, do, or be whatever we want. We can take on new challenges. We can take on bigger challenges, all because we developed our mental muscle and our internal fortitude to go forth and achieve. So if we don't get a result immediately, we want to realize that we're building a result within ourselves first. And then as we get stronger and our character gets stronger and our belief gets stronger and our power of our mind gets stronger, then the results we're looking for on the outside will come about even faster. They'll be accelerated. So we want to have a little bit more patience here and realize we're growing as we're attracting. We're growing as we're achieving. We're growing as we're changing. When each of us follows our life mission, what we end up doing is playing our piece of the puzzle, our role in the band. When all of us do this, the world begins to work. All of the pieces come together and you have this wonderful painting. But if you don't follow your life mission because you think it's selfish, or you put somebody else down because they're following it, you interrupt the music. You interrupt the puzzle. It's no longer complete. In order for the world to work, you have to follow your life mission, I have to follow my life mission, and everybody else watching has to follow their life mission. When that happens, you end up fulfilling your part and inspiring the world.
Yeah, I just love the whole idea of you find what you're here to do. Find what makes your heart sing and do that, and by doing that, you're serving everybody else.
Into your hands will be placed the exact results of your own thoughts. You will receive that which you earn, no more, no less. Whatever your present environment may be, you will fall, remain, or rise with your thoughts, your vision, your ideal. You will become as small as your controlling desire, as great as your dominant aspiration.
In Jeremiah 29:11, the prophet Isaiah says, "Thus saith the Lord, I know the plans I have for you. They're plans for good, not for evil, to give you a future with hope." In other words, the divine pattern is already yours, and it is up to each of us to awaken to the plan, to the purpose for our lives, to move in tune with it and not out of step with it, but move in tune with it so that it may guide us into our greater yet to be. You want a loving relationship? Become more loving first with yourself. You want people to express more generosity toward you and your organization? Then you become a generous person in word, in deed, in actions. Be as generous as you know how to be. And as you become more generous, you will find that you tend to attract people to you who are also generous. Every day, become more of who you see yourself as being in the world. Become that as best as you can, right where you are, with what you have.
Don't worry, I'm not here to nag you. I just have to get the rest of my things that I left.
Look, I'm not arguing. I know I pushed you away a lot last year, and I made a mess out of your life and our life. And I just wanted to say that I was probably avoiding feeling anything at all because of what I went through. So I was avoiding my feelings and your feelings, and yeah.
I think relationships are reflective of that interior world. Whether it's like your greatest loves, your greatest fears, you attract that. Our relationships, like everything else in our life, reflect that interior landscape, and that the more right we can become with ourselves and with the qualities that matter to us, then our relationships will reflect that. Where it's happened for me personally, where there have been people in my life where I couldn't be around them and still feel, good or positive. And as our I was going to say as a relationship evolved, but take that back. As I evolved, the relationship evolved, and they could no longer even bug me. In fact, I don't know, somehow we found ourselves on the same page. So it's amazing, I feel, when you do that interior work, because they can only bring you where you're at.
I know it took a toll on you when your dad passed away. And honestly, I wanted nothing more but to be there for you. You made me feel like you just wanted to be alone.
I know. And I realized that. And I kept you at a distance. And I'm sorry. Come here.
Circumstances and conditions don't necessarily make the individual, but they reveal what the individual is living.
It's not about the achievement there or the achievement there, or lack of achievement. It's about the character over the long haul. It's about who you become, who you bring to all of life's circumstances. We're all going to have different levels of success and failure as life moves on. Relationships are going to change, money is going to change, career paths are going to change, friends are going to come and go, family's going to come and go. The world is a dynamic and wild place, so all of those things are going to move and swirl around us at different paces and times. But the real question is, who are we in the midst of those moments?
Become interested in the presence of God, the presence of love, the presence of beauty, the presence of abundance. Become so interested in that is what gets you out of bed. That becomes your vision, becomes your energy, it becomes your language, your focus, your affirmation. And so you bring into your life more and more and more of that dynamic of those spiritual qualities.
As an author, I absolutely love James Allen. I first started reading him during the time when I was at the public library, living there. I was homeless in Dallas, and I would read books like James Allen's who would fortify me, who would teach me that my mind was creating my reality. And at first it was hard to take because I thought, I'm homeless. How did I create my own reality? But as I read his so wonderfully chiseled words that were so concise and so pointed, I would at first, from a writing standpoint, admire that this clarity of thinking that the man had was so precise that it was able to communicate directly into my heart and to my mind. And then as I considered everything he was talking about, I realized that as a man thinketh is absolutely true. When I began to change my mind, my life began to get better. It was slow at first because we didn't have movies, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have coaching, I didn't have money, I didn't have contacts, I didn't have friends. But I had a book, James Allen's book. And as I discovered, he wrote a lot of other books, and I started reading them. And in many ways, it was a kind of positive brainwashing, where I came up thinking I was a victim. I was subject to the brainwashing of survival that everybody else gets. What I discovered was a breakthrough in thinking. I discovered a transformation, and it all began by reading James Allen's books. He'll never know it, but I will be forever grateful for the man and all the publishers who kept his work in print, because it's changed my life forever.
As a Man Thinketh, as his most popular book, was very widely read, very widely quoted. Its ideas were very widely adopted. It influenced a whole generation of self-help writers, including Dale Carnegie, including Norman Vincent Peale, including the founders of Alcoholics Anonymous, Bob Smith and Bill Wilson, all of whom cited the book as an influence. People who have barely heard the name James Allen have heard the phrase, as a man thinketh, which he adopted from Proverbs, and they probably have a relative or a spouse or a housemate or a friend who at one point or another told them, oh, you got to read this. This is one of my favorite books. It's extraordinary how widespread that book has become. It's an achievement.
In the bark of your soul reclines the commanding master. He does but sleep. Wake him. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Say unto your heart, peace, be still.
You're your hero, and you're your, what's the opposite of a hero? You're your villain. You're your hero and you're your villain, and you're your screenwriter. You're the story writer. So all cliches, but all true.
That's why we do that. Okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you here, okay? You gotta do a backup of a backup.
Stretch that. One more time with feeling. Drum roll, please. Start the band again. Everybody take 5. So it all begins with thought. It begins with thought with you, with me, with the person making this movie, with your thought to come and watch the movie. I mean, my goodness, it's thought everywhere. It's thought. Thought, thought, thought. It's all thought.
And action.
Oh God, I shouldn't say God. Oh hey, it's you.
There you are.
Oh, what do I want? By the way, I'm Jimmy. Very nice to meet you.
We have a little
Lending library.
library.
We have a lending library.
Little London library.
Let's try that again. That was good though.
We have a little London library.
So you can say, oh my goodness, I have a flat tire. And if that should happen, a way to change the thought is, instead of bawling about it and screaming and crying and stomping your feet, you can say, I wonder what good's going to come out of this. And you start looking for the good. And I know people will laugh. I've been called Pollyanna all my life, but my life is good.
So you could be called worse.
I could be, yeah. Been called worse than that, too.
Watch it.
It's so bad.
It's good.
It's awful.
Babe, it got 4 stars.
I'd rather watch
Bill and Ted's.
I'd rather watch Anne of Green Gables.
Oh my goodness.
You know how bad that is? I hate Anne of Green Gables.
Stop.
So life can squeeze us. You know, events can happen that constrain us or make us say, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. But if what happens when life squeezes us, what comes out is the content of our character, and that's grounded in the invisible reality of the truth of who we are, it can squeeze us all we want. We're still going to walk through that experience with grace and with a peace of mind, and when we get to the other side. And people are going to say, how are you doing that? How are you moving through that divorce, that life change, that death, that challenge, that bankruptcy, that whatever, with such calmness? It's not that you wouldn't get upset from day to day, but with a sense of, I'm going to get through this, I'm bigger than this, there's something inside of me, all of this are for divine and perfect lessons, and there's something bigger emerging. They're going to say, how are you doing that? And they're going to say, I read As a Man Thinketh. Or I watched this movie.
Choose the thought that makes you happy, like a jukebox in your mind. You can change the song anytime. Choose the thought that makes you free. Choose the thought that